Welcome back to the Growth Archive. Before we begin this deep dive into the architecture of the soul, make sure you are subscribed. Here, we don't just study philosophy. We build the mental armor required for a life of excellence. Hit the notification bell to join our community of thinkers and doers. Today, we confront the most invisible form of slavery, the discipline of desire. We often think of ourselves as free. We live in free societies, we make our own choices, and we pursue our own goals. But the Stoics, from the slave-turned-teacher Epictetus to the emperor Marcus Aurelius, would disagree. They would look at the modern man, anxious, chasing the next promotion, refreshing his social media feed, obsessing over a stranger's opinion, and they would see a man in chains. Every time you want something that you do not have the power to guarantee, you hand over your freedom. You become a puppet. If you desire a specific outcome in a business deal, the market is your master. If you desire the love of a specific person, their mood is your master. If you desire to be seen as successful, the crowd is your master. We spend our lives building desire monsters that we must constantly feed, but the more we feed them, the hungrier they get. At the Growth Archive, we are learning to starve the monsters. Today, we learn that true power isn't getting everything you want, it's wanting only what you can truly control. To master desire, we must go back to the bedrock of Stoicism, the Enchiridion. Epictetus begins his handbook with a line that should be carved into every mind. Some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us. It sounds simple, almost too simple, but 99% of human suffering comes from getting this wrong. Imagine two massive bronze buckets. The first bucket is labeled internal. In this bucket, you put your opinions, your intentions, your efforts, and your own character. These are things that, no matter what happens in the world, no one can touch. If you are in prison, you can still choose your character. If you are bankrupt, you can still choose your effort. The second bucket is labeled external. This bucket is a bottomless pit. In it goes your health, your wealth, your reputation, your family safety, and the weather. These things are indifferent. They are not bad, but they are unreliable. If you are finding clarity in this distinction, take a moment to leave a comment below. At the Growth Archive, we believe that shared wisdom is doubled wisdom. Tell us, what is one external thing you've been desiring that has been causing you anxiety? Let's talk about it in the comments. The discipline of desire is the radical act of taking all your wanting out of the external bucket and pouring it into the internal bucket. Most people desire to win the race. The Stoic desires to run the best race possible. If you desire to win and you lose, you are crushed. If you desire to run your best race and you lose, you have still succeeded because you fulfilled your desire. You become invincible because your win is defined by your effort, not by the trophy. We are moving from a life of I hope to a life of I will. How do we actually practice this? We use the premeditation of evils. Many self-help gurus tell you to visualize success. The Stoics tell you to visualize the house burning down, not to be morbid, but to be prepared. If you desire your comfort too much, you become fragile. Think of the billionaire who cannot sleep because he might lose 10% of his net worth. He is poorer than the man who has nothing but desires nothing. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, used to set aside a few days each month to live like a beggar. He would wear coarse clothes, eat stale bread, and sleep on a hard floor. He would ask himself, "Is this what I used to fear?"
By voluntarily experiencing the loss of what we desire, we realize that our needs are actually preferences. When you realize you can survive on bread and water, you lose the fear of being fired. When you realize you can be happy in solitude, you lose the desperate desire for popularity. We are building desire calluses. We are training ourselves to enjoy the luxuries of life without being owned by them. At the Growth Archive, we call this the high-performance minimalist. You can have the Rolex, you can have the mansion, but you must be able to walk away from them without losing your soul. You use things, you do not let things use you. As we reach the summit of this discipline, we find a state called autarky, self-sufficiency. This is the ultimate goal of the training we do here. It is the ability to stand in the middle of a storm, or a crowd, or a crisis, and feel a sense of enoughness. Most people are like leaky buckets. No matter how much water, money, praise, sex, or power you pour in, it drains out the bottom. The discipline of desire plugs the leaks. It teaches you that yourself is the only thing that needs to be full. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up if thou wilt ever dig." This is the secret to the unshakeable life. When you stop desiring the world to be a certain way and start desiring to handle the world exactly as it is, your frustration vanishes. You stop arguing with reality. You stop saying this shouldn't be happening, and you start saying this is happening. How will I use it? Thank you for joining us for Chapter 3 of this series at the Growth Archive. This journey is not easy. It is the work of a lifetime, but it is the only work that leads to true freedom. If you missed Chapter 1 on perception or Chapter 2 on will, go back and watch them now. They are the foundation for what we have discussed today. And prepare yourself. In our final session, Chapter 4, The Discipline of Emotional Control, we will take everything we've learned and turn it into a masterclass on inner peace. Subscribe, stay disciplined, and keep building your archive. We will see you in the next one.